Welcome back, everyone, to Not Your Advisor with NYU Grad. It is Tuesday, February 27th. Let's jump right in. This might be a shorter episode, but I am going to cover a few things today, so I digress. Let's start at the top with breadth. We had 755 new highs today versus only 104 new lows. Now, when you take a look at advanced declines, you had 62% of shares advancing versus 33% of shares declining. And on the 50-day moving average, 40% of shares are below its 50-day, and 34% of shares or stocks are below its 200-day moving average. It was quite a light trading session looking at the indices, and I'll cover all of this granularly in a second, but taking a look at just the SPY contract, we were basically at 36 million shares traded all day. The average daily is 77 million. On the QQQ, we traded roughly 30 million on 44 million daily average. So we might just be taking a breather from a lot of the hot activity from the NVIDIA earnings bull bonanza. Um, Taking a look at the sectors today, it's quite telling. The leading sector was utilities, then communication services, but we're talking like utilities were up 1.65%, communication service was up 1%. Then you had consumer cyclicals up 0.48%. Technology was a nothing burger, literally 0% gain or loss. The only sector red marginally was energy, down 0.04%. So very quiet day looking at even the sector groups. Taking a look at the mega cap names, you actually had some movement in Meta up 1.1%, and I'll go into this a little bit later when I look at charts. Google was bouncing from its 4.5% loss yesterday. It was up 1% or 0.97%. Apple was up 0.81% on news they're going to give up on the EV automobile. I guess they're having enough to chew on with the Vision Pro goggles and all of the price cuts in the EV market space. Can they actually make a profit when everyone's buying $20,000 EVs? Microsoft was basically break even. Nvidia was down 0.5%. Amazon, now part of the Dow, down 0.68%. And then you had some of the ancillary shares like Adobe down 1.4. You had Nancy Pelosi's Palo Alto Networks up 3.95% again. She is replacing Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger as the greatest trader ever, apparently, because everything she touches turns into a 10 bagger. What else did I want to cover today? Um, just as a quick reminder, I did post a article or whatever you might call a post on Substack Notes earlier today, speaking specifically about Instacart and my viewpoint on their business in relation to a hot company back in the 99s, Cosmo.com. If you're old enough and you were in one of the major cities they operated in, you'll remember them. So definitely don't miss that. It's just called Instacart is a redo of Cosmo.com on a global scale. A couple other things I wanted to point out was the Ferrari chart. Now, I haven't been posting this because I was afraid that everyone watched, the Netflix F1 docu series, and I didn't want to ruin it for anyone. So I waited a few days and I wanted to relate it back to the Ferrari chart. So if you don't know about Lewis Hamilton in the news, you may want to turn this off. But if you don't really care about spoilers, and it's already a few days old, so um, Lewis Hamilton will be leaving Petronas, and he will be driving next year for Ferrari. Um, I took a look at the chart. Now, Ferrari, ticker symbol RACE, has been on a vertical rise since the IPO. I actually have buddies who are into exotic cars. They have Ferraris themselves, and they bought the stock at like $30. They can most definitely buy a Ferrari, probably 5 times over now with their stocks. If they sold it, Ferrari is at over $400 a share. And when the Lewis Hamilton news came out, it gapped up and it has never really looked back since that news. So that's a fun story slash stock to watch. Ferrari, I don't trade it. It's very, very gappy. But the long-term chart since its IPO is nothing but up. Another story that came out on the X Twitterverse was by JG Nuke, also known as Nobody's Special. He has a 20-minute video on YouTube that looks into potentially fire and smoke under hyperscale nexus and in relation to NVIDIA. So hyperscale nexus and the breadcrumb trail alludes to that this company, who used to be a cannabis company and has ties to uh, let's just say non-traditional businesses, uh, is somehow rebranding as an AI company and potentially laundering illicit money through NVIDIA chips. So take a look at that. I don't even know if this matters anymore because the entire world is going to benefit on NVIDIA going higher. Everybody is in on one side of the boat on NVIDIA. Everyone's a bull. So everyone is going to either keep buying or say whatever needs to be said to themselves or to the press to keep this money train moving until the last person steps in front of the train and blows this up. But I thought that was interesting as well. That's all I really have for the free podcast today. Thank you for joining again and checking this out. Please subscribe to the podcast and Substack. And I will see you all after the Wednesday session. Premium members, please stay on.